Alrighty, guys. Good morning. So we're kind of starting something that's a little more complicated than what we've been doing. All right, and part of the problem is the name. Okay, present participial phrases sounds a little intimidating. Okay, and so hopefully you had a chance to start here. You have clicked on this link and you've read a little bit about present participial phrases, and you've added three key things to your grammar growth personal notes. All right. If I were to focus on a few things, one would be that these always participles, present participles, always end in ing. All right. And you'll see examples of that here. You should have seen examples of that and read about that in this link that we asked you to look at. Okay. Um, the other thing that I would like you to pay attention to is the fact that present participial phrases, okay, are always going to be or should always be right next to the noun they are modifying, okay? And they occur in two places. They can either be fronted, all right, or they can interrupt, all right, the sentence, okay, as you'll see in these examples. So here we go. I got to get this out of the way. All right. So hopefully you had a chance. My face is still in the way. Hopefully you had a chance to get to this. All right. And this is where you are. Hopefully this was fairly easy peasy after looking at the resource examples that we provided for you. All right. And so for number one, singing his favorite song, John walked out of the room. The other thing that I would want you to pay attention to here is because it's a phrase, we can take it out and the sentence still makes sense. Okay, I can completely take out singing his favorite song, all right, and still have the independent clause. John walked out of the room. It makes total sense on its own. Okay. Number two, here's an example of one that kind of interrupts the sentence. Okay, Sally, comma, listening to her favorite song, walked into the room. All right. I want you to think of commas as kind of like cut marks. All right. And so for the first one up there, singing his favorite song, comma, John walked out of the room. When it's in front like that, we're always going to set it off with a comma. So we're going to make that cut mark. All right. To separate it from the rest of the sentence. Okay. Now, I know that the resource talked about essential versus non essential. I'm not worried about that right now. And I think for now, what I would like you to do is I would like you to use commas anytime that you use participial phrases, okay? And so if you're interrupting, all right, we're making a cut in the sentence on both sides and we're putting it in there just like for listening to her favorite song. Carrying firewood, John climbed the steps. Again, the comma has to be there, all right? Um, Smiling, this is just a present participle, all right? But I like to think about it in terms of whether it's one word or the word and all of its modifiers, we're still going to call it a phrase just for convenience, okay? And so even if it's one word, we're going to still call it a phrase. So smiling, comma, Sally raised her hand. And notice with all of these, we can move them back and forth, all right? I could also say Sally, smiling, raised her hand. And then finally, John and Sally, comma, studying for the test, comma, sat quietly in the classroom. I could also front it, studying for the test, comma, John and Sally sat quietly in the classroom. All right. So as with all this stuff we're doing, this is just for exposure and experience. All right. And so hopefully you've gained a little bit of experience from today's grammar growth task. All right. Peace out, my friends. Don't get overwhelmed by some of these terms and some of these things we'll be learning in the next couple days.